Wonderful things from people who've attended his class. You're in for a treat. Let's welcome Will Horton. Come on up here, Will.
Thank you for the unsolicited.
Good. I'm up to $8.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? When I was asked to do this, I was trying to think, what could I share with people, at this level? And if you were in the presenters meeting, to me, there was a lot of really cool things said. And one was said by Sean, when you want to look at the future of the profession, look around this room. Look around this room, because this is going to be the future of the profession, because it's going to change, people change, and things like that. And as we do this, we can learn new things, right? That's what we're all here for. So I'd like everybody to turn over there and wave, right? Because Dan taught me something. This is going on Facebook, right? It'll go on Facebook tomorrow. Well, the other thing, I guess I could tie it into, when you learn something, do it. Don't, as you said, do it. When you learn a new technique, don't necessarily wait to go and do it. Start doing it right away. Repetition breeds success. And so once you do that, that happens. A friend of mine, one of my dear friends, he happens to be here today, Captain Billy Schilling in the back. He's always shared a lot with me over the years. And he shared, and I'm going to mess this quote up, but there's a quote he shared with me today that said, when you sell a man a book, you are not selling him ink and paper. You're giving him a new life. And I thought that was very impactful for what we do and what we get to help people with. And what's interesting is there's a story, there was a rabbi, and he got lost in the desert, and he's looking around, he doesn't know where to go. This is in Roman times. And he sees a fort, right? And there's the centurion on top of the fort. And the centurion yells down at him, who are you, where are you going, and what do you want? And the rabbi looks up and says, what? And he goes, who are you, where are you going, and what do you want? The rabbi thought for a minute, goes, how much do they pay you? And the centurion went, what? And he goes, how much do they pay you? And he goes, I don't know, 10 denarii. He goes, I'll pay you twice that if you follow me around and every day ask me that question. Who am I? Where am I going? And what do I want? Right? And so that, to me, is very powerful. Because one of the things we do as trainers is subconsciously, and I think we always forget this, it's not just the information we teach them in the National Guild structure, or when I'm doing it, the NLP structure, or whatever we're doing. You're imparting the attitudes, values, and beliefs subconsciously to the people you're teaching. As Cal said, brilliantly said, you got to catch on fire. If you have that fire, they're going to catch that attitude, value, and belief. And so that's what you need to do, and that's what you have to fire up. Because when you're really hungry for something, people catch that. Because, as the poet said, most people lead lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their songs still unsung. And one of our jobs is to teach people how to release that song. And so when you're training new hypnotists, as Don brilliantly pointed out, it's not that you're training new hypnotists, you're training the people that are going to impact someone. And that person they help may help someone else who may save my daughter's life, or I don't have grandkids. I'm not that old. Okay, I'm that old, but I don't have grandkids, right? So what attitudes do you want your clients to have? Because they're going to model you subconsciously, right? You can look around the room and you could tell, a friend of mine that passed away, a dear friend of mine, you could always tell Jerry's kids running around here. Why? They had his attitude, value, and belief. Everybody went to Cleveland, all the stuff that Jerry used to talk about, right? You could tell Cal's five-pathers, they have that attitude, they have this. Right? You meet my students, they're nuts. But they have my value, attitude, and belief. So that's what we're sharing. And so when you have that, don't hide it. Don't shine your light. Don't keep your light under a bushel. Share it. Because that, I think, is what people are hungry for. And as Don said, when him and Dr. D were having lunch and they're carrying on, and I've seen them do that, they're enthusiastic and they're motivated. That's what people want. Because it's rather depressing out there in the real world sometimes, right? You turn on the news, you're going to die. Turn on the news, you're going to die. Another day, you're going to die. They won't tell you from what necessarily, but they'll just tell you that. So we're the ones that can give people that attitude, value, and belief, right? And so what is your true passion? What is your true passion? And in the world of hypnosis, if you're teaching, a basic hypnosis course, We all have things that we absolutely love. And then we have things, you know, that we have to teach, but it may not be your first passion. But what can you find in it that makes you passionate? What can you find in it that makes you passionate? And when you light that up, then it brings life to everything, right? And so that's all I wanted to say tonight when Elsa asked me is what attitude, value, and belief. And as Ron brilliantly said, you know, do you read about this? Do you actually read the Journal of Hypnotism, right? When you're at the conferences as trainers and CIs, especially if you're a speaker, do you go to other people's talks? Or do you just sit around and kibitz all day, all right? And there's nothing wrong with the kibitzing. We learn a lot when we're doing that. But do you run into other people's seminars? You know, I'm excited this year. I'm gonna go to, I've already planned several seminars I want to go to because I know I have some weaknesses. You know, I know there's things, I want to restart some stuff that I'm doing, and I'm a little bit behind the curve in some of the new marketing on the internet. So I'm talking to some people like, how do you do this? How do you do that? So, and that's what we get to do when we're here, is we get to share that kind of information. So it's an honor to be up here and share this kind of stuff with people. And I'm always blessed, whether it's a client in front of me or whether it's a coaching client, that I can do that. And I'll close with, as was brilliantly said earlier, is I always ask people, who's your hypnotist? Somebody tells me they're a hypnotist, who's your hypnotist? Right? And because I learned in the martial arts, my master said, you know, when someone's a teacher, who's your master? And if they don't have a master, run. Right? Because if you're at the top of the field, then that means you got nothing left to learn. And I've only scratched the surface after, I think this is my 28th year here at the National Guild Conference, give or take. Right? Something like that. And so I learn something every time that I'm here, you know? And so for that, it's a blessing and an honor. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've been given a life beyond my wildest dreams. Right? And as Cal said, this is how I make my living. This buys my, you know, my place in Florida, my other stuff, and all the stuff that I happen to do. So I'd like to thank you for sharing this with me, and light your passion, let it free. And remember, you're literally touching people's lives. So you know, really believe in it. So as I leave, let me ask one question. Can I get an amen? Amen.